Hello and welcome to Some of My Friends Read Comics. We've got Bands.
Well, it's not Fats Domino.
We've got Chris.
Curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal.
Wow, I'm Kia. Hi, welcome to the show. We're reading about villains today. Oh my goodness, we're doing a super villain team up, featuring M.O.D.O.K. M.O.D.O.K's getting like his own. Is it like a claymation show? Was that the art style? I
It
forget.
looks claymation. I don't know if it's actually computer animated.
Right.
To look claymation, like
that
Kirby Rainbow Curse game for Wii U. I don't know if it's like faking it or.
Yeah,
I should probably say Clay Fighter would probably be a better. More
Clay Fighter works, yeah. But I never thought M.O.D.O.K. would ever get his own series ever, and yet here we are. So the M.O.D.O.K's weird. We'll talk about him. We're going to read his first appearance from Tales of Suspense number 94. I didn't write down the year. It was late 60s somewhere, right?
I think 67 or 69.
67. Then we're going to read a super villain team up from 2007. It has a subtitle called Modox 11. So we're looking at like an Ocean's 11 kind of thing. Maybe not. I don't know. Then, of course, we're going to continue Amazing Spider-Man with number 6, where we're reading the first year of Spider-Man. So technically, we got 2 Stan Lee stories today because we got Tales of Suspense and we got Amazing Spider-Man. Look at this, Stan Lee all over the place. Should we start with Tales of Suspense here and just jump right into it?
Right, let's go for it.
Sure.
Yeah, that way we can just kind of learn who M.O.D.O.K. is during his first appearance. And this was during the era when Tales of Suspense was half Iron Man story and half Captain America story. And they would typically be like kind of serialized or whatever. But in this story, Captain America has just been captured by AIM. Did they have a name? Like, did we know what that stood for at this point?
Advanced Idea Mechanics, yes.
I feel like that's changed in a lot of different eras. But yeah, they've been
There's been like AID, and there's been a few different like. I mean, you can even see
AIM is pretty consistent, though.
Is it? Yeah. Maybe I'm mixing it up with something else then. Okay. But I really love all these AIM like henchmen because they're really not henchmen. They're brilliant scientists who created this thing called M.O.D.O.K. And we don't know what M.O.D.O.K. is yet. It's just like all menacing. But then M.O.D.O.K. got so strong and took them over. And they're all just like, oh, damn, I wish we could get away from this M.O.D.O.K. guy.
That's a fun twist. I wasn't expecting it to be this early. That basically AIM hates their boss and wants to kill their boss and kind of is rooting for Captain America to kill their boss. It's a very fun twist. I was not expecting.
Yeah, this issue, it's very enjoyable. So the art at the beginning, this is Kirby art, and then one of the first pictures of Captain America, he's captured and he's lying down, and his face looks like it's smashed flat. I don't think it was meant to have that effect, but I couldn't help but giggle at it.
Yeah, the one on the bottom of page 2 where it's just kind of like stretched. Yeah.
It's so beautiful. And
I love the AIM costume designs. They look like James Bond henchmen and like lava, and like lava stations. They
look like Moltar. Yeah.
Yeah, they do look like Moltar. That's a better one. Yeah, but yeah, they basically just look like parodies of '60s, like Austin Powers wore this costume.
So the whole reason Captain America was attacking the AIM base was to capture, I had to look this up later, Agent 13. Stan Lee very clearly forgot her name. And multiple times throughout this
Agent
book.
13, yes.
I don't know if he did.
What did I say?
I don't know. But yeah, I don't know if he said... I don't know. Is this Agent 13's like one of her first appearances? Because she's never named. She's always called, we got to save the girl. Or, hey, m'lady.
There's even one that's like ... her. Like Captain America was thinking about it and couldn't remember.
But I think at the very end of the issue, she says like, let me tell you my real name. So this may be one of her first meetings of him. Sharon Carter coming off of Falcon and Winter Soldier. You may know her from.
Yeah. Yep, she debuted in Tales of Suspense 75, so she's been around for 19 issues and doesn't have a name apparently.
Wow. Yeah, but she never even gets called like Agent 13, which they had been referring to her as before, which is what leads me to believe like Stan Lee just forgot. And he's like, okay, we got to give this person a name so I can remember it. But so Captain America goes and, attacks M.O.D.O.K. and everything. M.O.D.O.K. we meet is a giant head. The whole plan was, we get more of his origin, I think, in this future stuff that we're going to be reading. But he's just like, he's so smart that he has a giant head with little tiny baby arms, and he's in this flying chair, and he's just weird as hell, man. I love him. I don't get him. and it's just the weirdest drawing. It's just, I didn't expect it to be so weird of a drawing so quick, you know? Like, I thought that I'd heard of M.O.D.O.K and that maybe over the years he'd gotten more and more like weird.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect him to look like this right out of the gate.
I mean, you say that, but I mean, haven't you seen Unbreakable? Sam Jackson might as well be looking at a picture of M.O.D.O.K when he's like, you can tell who the villain is because he's got a giant head and a little baby arm.
He is a fun villain to fight in Lego Marvel games, by the way. He looks like a Lego character. And the fact that Patton Oswalt's playing him like tracks.
It's perfect. It's perfect. And I mean, there's really not much else to tell about this. You know, he's got like laser beam head stuff. He's got all this, the ability to like, was he like mentally controlling his people as well? Or
yeah, he's shooting mental blasts left and right.
It's everything. And while Captain America's fighting, the AIM agents are like sneaking around, like, "Oh, hey, look, Captain America's fighting him. Okay, we gotta go and do this thing now." Like, all right, great. But then they also want to kill Captain America afterwards. They're really playing all sides here. With the end of it, the M.O.D.O.K is all like withered and lying on the floor without any of his machinery. It looks like a very sad sight. But he is able to summon like a boat of some sort, or like he turns himself. He gets like a scuba thing. Look, he's got all sorts of crazy gadgets. He's the smartest man ever. And he is able to escape. They see it explode. No, they don't even see the ship explode.
I was going to say, that's not what happens. M.O.D.O.K apparently kills himself and blows up the base.
Wait, is that what happened?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought... No, hold on. I thought I saw something about like an escape sub. That's their escape sub.
Yeah, Captain America gets on AIM sub and takes it over.
I thought I misunderstood what was happening because I was looking at M.O.D.O.K and then it says a small speedy escape sub streaks from the mothership, and I thought, okay, M.O.D.O.K's dead. I thought M.O.D.O.K lived.
Well, yeah, they set it up. I mean, Captain America's like, that's the last we'll hear from M.O.D.O.K.
Of course. But I'm sure he'll survive. I can't believe I read the ending all wrong. M.O.D.O.K, we barely knew you and you're already dead. It's okay. I'm sure, I don't know how he lived, but we are going to move on, I think.
I like how they just blow through this, though. I mean, it's a weird issue. Like, it takes place, like, basically in one location. It's pretty much one scene, 10 pages. M.O.D.O.K is created, shows up, and is done, all in 10 pages. And that's it.
I did see that.
Meanwhile, Iron Man has to convert his, his USB-C charger into an iPhone charger, and that's the drama of the Iron Man half of it.
I didn't read that.
Something for everyone.
Yeah, he's got to recharge his armor, and he's like, "No, this port doesn't work," and so he has to like set it up so he can charge his armor.
I will say I was reading that we did technically hear the voice of M.O.D.O.K in the previous issue, and so he didn't appear on panel, but we were aware of M.O.D.O.K's presence as of the last issue. So a tiny bit stretched further, but still a very quick. What was it? 12 pages, 10 pages, something like
10.
that.
Straight up 10.
So we are now going to jump to the year 2007 with the supervillain team up here. M.O.D.O.K's 11, written by Fred Van Lente, with art by Francis Portela. And it's just a 5-issue, very clearly a take on the superhero team-up series that have been just various things throughout Marvel's history. But let's just team up the villains together. Why not? And then M.O.D.O.K's 11, Ocean's 11. Makes sense to me. Let's do a heist.
They call it Ocean's 11, but there aren't 11 villains.
No, there aren't.
There aren't.
Right that.
No,
and there aren't 11.
Yeah, there's not. Even like the character pairings at the beginning will be like, this person's actually working against them, but we'll count them as part of the 11. It's just their antagonist. It's kind of like, I don't know if y'all ever saw Ocean's 8, but the 8th member doesn't join the team until like an hour and a half into the movie. And the movie's only like an hour 40.
8? Was that the Sandra Bullock one?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which is not a prequel.
Oh yeah.
I was counting.
It's the girls' Ocean.
I enjoyed it, but I also was counting like when does each member get added to the Ocean's 8, and they don't add an 8th member until basically like the reveal at the end.
And and like I think I would have liked this a lot more, honestly, if it just didn't have the Modox 11 title on it, because I did go into it expecting like a big sprawling heist, and that's really not what this book is at all.
I was expecting either a heist or more M.O.D.O.K, and M.O.D.O.K is more like Charlie to Charlie's Angels, which I guess also has him in the title too. But M.O.D.O.K's Angels, that would have been a good name for.
M.O.D.O.K's Angels, yeah.
Well, we could have gotten a bunch of I don't know, Diamondback, another Captain America, Femme Fatales.
I mean, we could make M.O.D.O.K's Angels or M.O.D.O.K's Devils right now. I mean, you could say from the writer, from somebody who worked on M.O.D.O.K's 11, because I did color this book.
Oh yeah,
I did color a few pages.
About that.
I don't remember which pages I colored. I could not recognize a darn one of them. It would have been the first or the second issue because I had left the company by then. But I worked for Guru FX, and I probably shouldn't blow the wad on this. But basically, if you ever see a Marvel book subcontracted to Guru FX, who's the coloring company outside in my town that I worked for, Marvel has no faith in the book. Just straight up,
I mean, which is crazy too, because Nova from around this time, very good.
But they didn't they didn't know Nova was going to turn into Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. I mean, Abnett and Lanning just were writing that book, and I don't think anyone was paying attention to it, and it was just accidentally great.
Right. And then I think like the last 5 issues of like Jason Aaron's Star Wars run is colored by Guru FX, and I'm like, okay, Marvel's done with this book. That's the cadence I can see with them. But I did work on this book. Fred Van Linte, though, is a writer on this. He's actually one of my weirdly favorite like tiny writers. He's like a D-list writer, just in terms of popularity. He wrote Cowboys and Aliens, which that Daniel Craig Harrison Ford, Jon Favreau movie was based on. That's probably his biggest claim to fame. But he also made Action Philosophers, which is one of my favorite comics that I don't... That's the one that has like a bunch of 8-page shorts on like Ayn Rand's philosophy that just makes fun of Ayn Rand like in comic strip form for 8 pages, or makes fun of Plato, or teaches you all about Jung and Freud. Yeah. It's a really fantastic book. They also did him and his artist Ryan Dunleavy did one on comic book comics, which is called The History of Comics. It's fantastic.
Yeah,
also.
The comic book history of comics.
Yeah, it's a really good. Okay. And now I found a recent book of theirs in Walmart called Action Presidents. They made like a little OGN about George Washington, basically talking about how the cherry tree story was bullshit. This is for like 8-year-olds. It's pretty good. But it's I like him as a writer. He just always seems to have like a weird bent. And he also wrote those Power Pack books that I really liked.
Yeah. And he wrote The Incredible Hercules, which they should turn into a movie if they know what they're... if Marvel knows what they're thinking.
That's supposed to be
really... it's great.
Yeah, so Fred Van Linte, good writer. I enjoy him. Like, not very well known from this era, but I really enjoy his writing. Whenever I see him, I'm like, this is going to be weird. So, and I don't know anything about Francesco Portella.
Yeah, the art seemed fine throughout most of this. There wasn't anything that ever, like, stood out as, like, terribly bad or, like, whoa, that was an amazing panel or anything.
With that in the coloring, it looked like it wanted to be Salvador LaRocca.
Yeah, I was thinking Salvador LaRocca or Andrea DeVito. Like, there's definitely that kind of mid-2000s art.
So, yeah, let's just start jumping into the story here. The first issue starts with a quick little few-page origin of M.O.D.O.K. with some additional bits where now we learn that a girl dumped him right before he turned into M.O.D.O.K.
A girl who also works for AIM.
Yes, but also they were never really dating. He's just like kind of not great at relationships, and I don't know. I got weird vibes.
He's a super villain. Like he's not a lovable super villain.
Sure, he's not a lovable super villain. Let's be clear about that. Yeah, but they were originally going to make him the M.O.D.O.K with a C, mental organism designed only for computing. We didn't say that. That now that we know he turned into M.O.D.O.K with a K, mental organism designed only for killing, is what M.O.D.O.K is.
Except on Valentine's Day, he's the mental organism designed only for kissing.
That's right. He is all about the ladies. The more I read M.O.D.O.K stories, the more I kind of wonder if we should not be including this character in things anymore, because he does seem a little
He's a villain.
He's
problematic.
Yeah, but
he's
an incel
He's
villain.
he is an incel villain for sure. And so, yes, this AIM agent accidentally slept with the incel guy and kind of regretted it. And then they made him M.O.D.O.K. And that's, years later, that's just our little prologue bit. So let's start meeting the members of the team here. We've got the Armadillo. He's fighting in a wrestling ring in Mexico versus the Chupacabra. There's a few pages of just calling the action. Very exciting. And he gets paid $900, which really isn't that bad, I would say. Considering,
as you say, for a professional wrestler, that's like you're running an indie show.
Yeah,
my friend who did mixed martial arts fighting in New Braunfels only got paid like $250 a night to get knocked out sometimes. So $900 ain't bad. Like all things considered.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, your name is on the poster for $900.
Yeah. So this guy seems to be doing okay, but clearly he wants more, and if somebody says his name behind him, I'll just kind of spoil it now. Every single one of these people that we meet gets like a vision telling them to do a thing afterwards, but it's always from a different perspective. So this guy Antonio Rodriguez, the Armadillo, he sees a vision of, I think it's the Virgin Mary. We see it a little bit later.
And are these all real villains also that have existed before?
Yes.
I think most of them are, if not all of them. Yeah.
This was before Nick Spencer's Superior Foes.
Yes.
But there's a lot of vibes of that.
So okay. So Armadillo is a Captain America villain from the 80s. Okay.
Yes.
That's where he first appeared.
So, and he looks cool. He looks like the Mega Man robot, armored armadillo. But I mean, how do you do an armadillo that doesn't look like that, Anyways, we go to New Mexico. We see Thomas Fireheart, who is Puma. I don't think they call him Puma here. What?
The Puma Man. The Puma Man.
The Puma. I see. The Puma Man. Puma Man.
He's a Spider-Man villain from '84. So we're now 2 for 2 in mid '80s. Okay.
I feel like there's a lot of stories shoved into this page for him, but he is like an evil Native American businessman / contract killer, and he's disgraced his family.
He's not even that evil.
Well, okay, I don't know how evil he is, but he seems real bad because there's a lot of stuff going on with him, and he's like, I think he's got to go to court or something like that. I don't know. And they're like, son, you have to go meet with your spirit advisor. And he goes out to meet with his spirit advisor. But of course, it's the same vision that everyone else is getting. But to him, it's a puma. We see a very nice young boy who seems very nervous and stuttery all the time. I skipped over someone. I skipped over Reno, Nevada, where we have Marvin Flum, a.k.a. Mentallo. And he is telepathic, and of course he's using that to win at cards and steal money from a casino. But I forgot he was in this. Purple Man has taken over this casino very recently, which is a terrible turn of events for Mentallo. So he runs away. The Fixer shows up to say, hey, you want to make $5 million?
Yeah, the Fixer was Mentallo's old buddy in like the 60s and 70s.
Yes, but again, not really the Fixer, just a vision of the Fixer. Everyone's seeing a vision, saying, you want to make $5 million? Come to Brooklyn. Come to Gowanus in Brooklyn. That's actually not too far from me.
You should go, Kia.
I did. I searched the address, and I don't think Gowanus Avenue actually exists. There's like the Gowanus Expressway. So maybe that's what he meant. I don't know. I'm sure they would have figured it out on Google Maps. But the very last person. Wait, are we done with? Yeah, we're done with Mentallo.
There's Nightshade too.
We never see the Purple Man again. That's sad.
No.
But we don't meet Nightshade just yet. So that nice boy that I was talking about. He gets a vision from his mom, who's also lying in bed next to him, in a race car bed on life support. Mm-hmm. This guy. This is the Rocket Racer.
I don't hear him in a Spider-Man cartoon. He was in one episode.
100%.
Yes, another Spider-Man villain that is not well remembered.
Mm-hmm. But he does not want to go back to a life of crime. But this vision from his mom is saying that he should. So he goes and he shows up with all that we've met so far. And there's 4 members who were told to enter on the other side of the warehouse. And so they come in and they assume they see all this money sitting on the table in the middle, and they're like, all right, I guess we got to fight over it. They start fighting until Modok shows up and says, no, don't do that. And so I'm wondering why he told them to go to separate entrances. It seems like a mean trick. I don't know. But the other 4 villains are Nightshade. Living Laser, is that his name, or was that just a description?
Yeah, that's his name.
That's his name. We got the Chameleon, Master of Disguise.
Yeah, we know him.
Yeah. We've got the Spot. Is that what he's called? The Spot? The teleporter guy?
Yep.
Yeah.
Spot was always terrifying to me in the Spider-Man cartoon.
It's pretty scary, yeah.
He can have scary powers if you use him appropriately.
He can. Is that all 4? Am I forgetting somebody? And then the Deadly Nightshade, who is a genetics genius. Puma is there for his acrobatics. Rocket Racer is there for speed. Armadillo is there for tunneling. Spot is there for teleporting. Mentallo is there for being a psychic. Chameleon's your Master of Disguise. You got everybody. At this point, I'm actually kind of on board with this book 100% because I'm like, this is all the pieces of a pretty great heist where everyone's going to have a thing to do.
Yeah, unlike team up books like we've read before, like Batman Ninja Turtles, like by the issue 1, we know a bit about most of the characters. They're all together and we know what they're doing.
Yes, it works so really well. Yeah.
So A+ on that regard. Like we're partially there.
We have a little bit of the heart with Rocket Racer. I was very confused when I don't think he's in the next 2 issues, or if he is, he doesn't say anything.
He doesn't do much. So and I like Mentallo through these first few issues. Because he's like one of the schemers. Like
Mentallo does seem like a great villain. He's a little underserved by this book.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So let's the team all meets, Modoc shows up. We see this money on the table. Mentallo knows that this money is fake. He knows it's just like a mental projection. And he's like thinking about it. And M.O.D.O.K talks to him in his thoughts. And he's like, hey, the full extent of my plan will be revealed soon. Blah, blah, blah. And so everyone's like, all right, fine, we'll join your team. Straight into issue 2, it starts with like a battle simulation, which starts to lead me to believe that there is no plan. They're just going to go like running in fighting this thing.
Yeah,
it's not
going to be like Ocean's 11. I don't feel like what they're trying to steal is very clear, what the risks are, what makes it difficult, the way Ocean's 11 is. And then there's not going to be like a turn that then shows how they were sneaky about it. None of that happens.
Yeah. We do know that they have been, we kind of learned it in bits and pieces little by little, but they're going to the Infinicide, which is like at the end of time, and there's a hypercube that a hypernova that they want to get from there, which is like just this great energy source.
I don't know if it was specifically mentioned in the issue we read of Tales of Suspense. Tales of Suspense, but M.O.D.O.K was created to make the cosmic cube. Like he was created to calculate, like his brain power would be able to make the cosmic cube. In the Infinicide, the MacGuffin of this, will be able to create a new cosmic cube.
See, okay, so that's what we need. So we've got some battle simulation stuff, and then M.O.D.O.K's like, no, you're all doing it wrong. You can't just fight. You have to be smart and do it my smart way. And then Mentallo is standing there while he's giving this speech, and he's trying to delve into everyone's mind. He really does do most of the heavy lifting of like getting the story across and getting you to meet all these people. And he's like, who can I like turn to get onto my side here? And he's like, maybe that one. Maybe not. Like, ooh, that'd be a good one.
Yeah, this is probably the most intrigued I am by the whole story is in this issue, because like I do like his scheming. It allows like the soap opera-ness of like people pitted against the whole team. Like I like that idea, and him looking for an ally. I really like this.
Yeah. We do get a scene from Puma's family, and they're like, hey, where'd Puma go? And they're like, it seems like he ran off to Brooklyn. Somebody saw him at the bus depot. Well, let's strip him of his Puma powers. And they do a ritual.
He's a failure as a Puma.
And so they just do a ritual where they're going to strip him of his powers. I don't remember exactly when it goes into effect, but it hasn't yet. We get Mentallo now, who has his job is to be working with the Chameleon. Chameleon has to do like some shape-shifting to get into where they're going, but he can't shape-shift his brain, and there's mental scanners. So Mentallo's there to to put some blockers there. And I'm like, okay, on board. Mm-hmm. But They go out to the park to do it, which seems a little weird. Like, couldn't you just go in a room? I don't know. But they go out to the park and they're having like a private conversation. And Metallo's like, hey, I know you're not really Chameleon. I couldn't see into your brain before. I know some of your, like, the way you're reacting to stuff. I think you're Spider-Man.
That's cool.
Because you've been using like spider sense. And
I'm like, ooh, do we got a secret hero on the team? I was very excited for this.
Mm-hmm.
And then he acts like the Human Torch.
And then I'm like, oh, that's even better because like let's not blow. It's like I'm like Spider-Man wouldn't deal with this low rent bullshit in this book. And then I'm like, Human Torch though, that's a good ad, that's a good touch. I like that. Of course, this is again under the next page.
I was just say I knew exactly who it was when he did that.
Yeah, see, I don't know the Super Adaptoid.
Yeah, I was like, it's the Adaptoid. That's the guy who does that.
So the Adaptoid is a villainous creation that has the powers of any hero it's fought. Wow, seems crazy powerful. I don't know how this thing has ever lost anything.
This seems a lot like the Super Skrull to me also, Chris.
Well, the Super Skrull only has the Fantastic Four's powers. It's more of a ripoff of the DC character Amazo.
Okay. I do like, though, that, like, right before this scene happens, though, Metallo, who's also been around since, like, 66, is telling Chameleon, like, you've been in this longer than anybody else. And I'm like, you have been, because you're in the first issue of Amazing Spider-Man, which I just read.
True. He's the oldest character in this book.
He is. Wow. That's a good yeah, I like that.
I mean, that's a little thing, like, I like Fred Van Lente saying, like, I know comics from 40 years ago. And I'm like, thank you. Like, it's just like, it's like a little touch, but I'm like, oh, I know that. That, like, it triggered the 5-year-old brain in myself. I'm like, yes, I know that fact. I was very excited.
So now we know that this is not really Chameleon on the team, that it's really the Ultra Adaptoid, which is made by AIM, because Chameleon, when he got this message from M.O.D.O.K, he didn't go to M.O.D.O.K, he went straight to AIM and sold them the information, and they want to get their end to, like, take M.O.D.O.K down.
Yeah, and get their own Cosmic Cube, and it's the girl from the previous issue.
Yes,
Monica
it is.
Rappaccini?
Yes. Rappaccini, I don't know.
Yeah. Who, yes. But for someone who just kind of wants to be over M.O.D.O.K, it seems like she's really going after him pretty hard. I don't know.
She's the scientist supreme of AIM, which I don't know if that's just like...
Yeah.
I don't know. She's a pretty new character. She was introduced in the 2003 or 4 Amazing Fantasy series of like one-shots.
Oh, with Aranya?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so she's only been around for like a couple of years at this point. She's probably the newest character here.
She despite Captain America fighting AIM, she was not in the Captain America by Brubaker. That I know.
No, I don't think so. So yeah, I do like the call out where they're like, we heard that Chameleon was dead or in an insane asylum, and he's like, that's just what I would want you to think. Which I don't know what his status quo in Spider-Man was at this time. I have no idea, but I assume it was probably that he was in Ravencroft Asylum, where a bunch of Spider-Man's enemies ended up, and he makes it clear that that's just a setup, that he's not.
That's the thing about shapeshifters; they can be anywhere. You never know.
Mm-hmm. Always can escape.
All right.
So,
all right. Go ahead.
So we're going to the title page of issue 3 here. Yes. And it really bothered me because it had like we've established 9 members of this team, but 2 question marks. For the remaining Modox 11. But now they're starting to fill these in with issue 3, and Monica Rappaccini's in here, and I'm like, Monica Rappaccini's not part of the team. Why is she part of Modox 11? This is bullshit.
Yeah, doesn't make any sense.
It seems like they made this title that doesn't make sense, because making 11 characters you have to serve is really difficult in the 5-issue miniseries.
Yeah, it should really be 7, but
I feel like Modox Angels or Modox Devils would have gotten you around that real fast.
Yeah, this issue is the one where it all really started to fall apart for me, though, as far as like the premise not being what I expected, because the heist starts to happen, and it's like, wait a minute. It kind of feels like things are going in a very weirdly different direction. And I didn't hate it, but it's just not what I expected at all. The Chameleon, a.k.a. the Ultra Adaptoid, a.k.a. Monica Rappaccini, who is like in control of the Ultra Adaptoid, has now infiltrated the place that they were going to infiltrate. And we learn more about how this thing works, and don't want to make it too powerful, so they can only pump in a few powers at a time by satellite. Which I buy that. I question why M.O.D.O.K didn't see these satellite beams sending things, but whatever. They do the heist. Spot bails. I feel like I skipped a lot. The first thing I remember is that Spot bails and takes the hypernova to the Mandarin, and he has turned on the team. Oh my goodness.
There's a cool visual though where like the Chameleon pulls a Spot, because a Spot he's got portal powers. I don't know if we ever mentioned that.
Mm-hmm.
Assume everybody knows Spider-Man the Animated Series from 1994. But he pulls a portal. The Chameleon pulls a portal out of his coat and lays it on the floor where they're trying to steal things. I'm like, that is a cool. That's a nice heisty image. I like that. So
that's a nice heisty image. But like, I don't know, the heist is like the main draw for me. The heist is what I was here for, and it's like the heist is over all of a sudden, and
the heist should be
he's gone.
In a heist, there should be double crosses and triple crosses and quadruple crosses, which there are, but they also should have like, here's like the bullshit that we got to get through. Oh man, look at those lasers, and there's a guard here. Like, how are we gonna get past that? And then you show them doing something clever, and then it's got to fall apart somehow. And
I feel like it would have been better instead of being whatever sort of just energy source it is if they were stealing from like Kang the Conqueror or somebody, where you're saying like, oh, this is a guy that we're stealing from.
Yeah, to make it. Yeah, and that's a big thing about like heists, and when you're following criminals, you need to have a worse criminal you're stealing from to make it justifiable. Because I don't know who my protagonists are. Am I rooting for AIM to undermine these people? Am I rooting for Metallo? Am I rooting for the Monica and the Ultra Adaptoid? Or am I rooting for Modok's team? I don't know who I'm rooting for here. It would make it a lot easier to say like Andy Garcia is your bad guy, Kang's your bad guy that you're stealing from because he's worse.
Well, I still thought, okay, I'm rooting for the sympathetic one on the team, which was the Rocket Racer. Which I haven't seen.
I don't know if he's had a line in the last two issues.
He did. He really did not have a line in issue 2.
Or Nightshade,
and I don't remember
something.
him or something. But I really thought Rocket Racer was going to be the focus. But this issue really jumbled it all up because it kind of started to feel like Dr. Rappaccini, Monica Rappaccini, was the protagonist. Because she is now in control of the super suit. She's doing all this work. She's like kind of taken over. At one point, she's like, "Hey, I'll fight everybody off here," and she like sends everybody else on the team away. And she's like, "All right, I'm alone," and starts sending me powers. And she's like requesting powers. She's requesting. There's a bit where she requests Captain Marvel's powers.
Yes, that's a funny bit.
The team that's like, which one? Oh, well, the black one. Well, look under P for Photon. Oh no, I found it. It was under R for Rambeau. Like, I don't know. That's cute. Yeah, there's something nice about. Yeah, it feels very, Venture Brothers-y. And so the hypernova is.
Was it this issue or the issue before where she kills the guy who snickers at her for sleeping with M.O.D.O.K? That's very Venture Brothers.
Oh, yeah.
And that's very Venture Brothers for sure.
Mm-hmm. But they don't have the hypercube because Spot has taken it to the Mandarin. But the Mandarin turns on Spot and does what? Like kills him, seals him off into a thing, turns on him.
And this isn't your daddy's Mandarin. This is the son of the Mandarin.
So he's not as cool,
it is.
Right? He's kind of not as. He's less powerful. But again, we could have been stealing from the Mandarin. We could have been stealing his 10 rings.
Yeah. But now we have that. So 2 members of the team so far are not working for the team. We've got the Chameleon with
Chameleon. Yeah.
And we have the Spot guy who's already out of the picture. Spot's done after this.
Yeah. And, Chameleon, Metallo, and Spot are not with the team.
Oh yeah. And Metallo. Oh, did we mention that Metallo is like dead? I don't think I did. Chameleon, when he turned all Human Torchy, he zapped Metallo, and he's like, "Oh yeah, Metallo, he did his psychic shield on me," and then he said he was bailing. And M.O.D.O.K says there's a low % chance that would happen if he hasn't collected his payment yet. And he's like, "Well, what can I say? It happened." I'm like, "All right, that's fine." M.O.D.O.K does remember this, though. I'm glad that comes up later because he's like, "Yeah, I thought something fishy was up." But Yeah, we don't see much of Rocket Racer. We finally see, okay, the Infinicide where they were at, it blows up. I don't know. The action started to get real jumbled up for me in issues 3 and 4 and 5. And I think the only note I wrote down for issue 4 is that Nightshade gave Puma some of her werewolf serum, and he thinks his powers are back. But they're not. He was just like feeling the spirit, you know? Yeah. He was feeling spirited.
Yeah, again, more references to old Marvel stuff. Somebody's like, "Hey, Nightshade, didn't you give Captain America werewolf powers once?" And she's like, "Yeah, simpler times." So that was funny. And then Spot basically, I mean, it's funny, but it is just a ripoff of Batman the Animated Series when he's like, "I fought Spider-Man once."
There was an almost got him moment that they almost did in issue 2 where they talked about like places where they were almost successful. That was I think they even said almost got him.
Yeah, that's what set up Nightshade's powers, and yeah, that's where Spot just does the Killer Croc moment of I fought Spider-Man.
Most of this issue number 4, seems to be just like the fight with the Mandarin, and I really just glazed right over most of it. And then S.H.I.E.L.D. shows up at the end. Oh, that's what happened. This is important. Rocket Racer is also not with the team. He was working for S.H.I.E.L.D., and which really surprised me because I thought we were supposed to like care about him, but no, I guess not.
He also had Big Wheel's Big Wheel, which that character doesn't appear, but another lame Spider-Man villain from the 70s.
Yeah. And I'm ready to go on to issue 5. Y'all got anything for issue 4?
Issue 4 starts also having mini Marvel shorts at the end by Chris Giaroso, which I really liked back in the day.
Those are good.
This mini Marvels though takes 2 pages to tell a joke about the Human Torch getting rained on. Yeah, and then but he looks better.
Yeah, my favorite mini Marvels is where Cyclops tries to schedule a optometrist appointment, and the nurse like reads his file, and it's like death beams kills you, and she's like the doctor will not see you, and Cyclops just dramatically posing is like, will mutant oppression never end?
I do like mini Marvels along with what is it? I call it Calvin and Hobbes, but basically it's Franklin Richards' Son of a Genius. Those shorts that appeared at the end of Marvel Comics, I'm like, these are fun. So,
so we are on to the last issue of Modok's 11, issue number 5.
So the
11, maybe 8 members on the team.
The 11 are M.O.D.O.K. also is one of the 11. But it's Armadillo, Deadly
Danny
Nightshade.
Ocean is one of Ocean's 11. So.
I guess that's true. Armadillo, Deadly Nightshade, Living Laser, Puma, and Rocket Racer are the only ones supposedly on the right team. Mandarin is counted as one of the 11.
Mandarin should not even count as an infiltrator because he wasn't even like on the team doing any part of the job. Yeah. He was just waiting.
He just gave Spot money.
Oh my god. So whatever. We've got the Mandarin who's still around and like hanging out with the villains as well.
Yeah, there's a big fight scene in issue 4 where Mandarin beats up Living Laser, and Living Laser is like, "Ooh, you can touch me. That's great."
Yeah, Living Laser is just a living laser. I think it's a pretty descriptive name. He wants to be human, though. But basically everybody wants this thing. It's turned into kind of like this free-for-all with a lot of different factions competing over one item. Which, again, very different from what I was expecting from a heist, but it's not a bad premise for a story at all. No. Really the only ones who are still kind of loyal and fighting for this thing are Puma, Nightshade, and Armadillo. Laser now wants to just take this energy thing for himself and become a normal human. So, at the end of the big fight, he's got it, and he uses the power, and he disappears. He's gone. The 3 still loyal ones, they report back to M.O.D.O.K, and they're like, M.O.D.O.K's plan was terrible. Half of your minions were working against you, and like all of your shit was fake. This was the worst plan ever. But M.O.D.O.K has the Hypernova cube thing. He was like, listen, when Spot had to transport it through his portals, he had to go through like that portal dimension. While he was in there, I switched it out off panel when nobody was looking. And so it's like, okay,
it's a power I've never established I could do.
Yeah. But he did. So cool.
That's like the bullshit. I'm gonna spoil Ocean's 12 right now. They had the whole movie, but they stole the jewel like literally like 10 minutes into the movie. It was bullshit. And then they showed like we stole this. Bad. Ocean's 12 is fucking terrible. I worked at a movie theater when that was out, and I saw it several times. I'm like, this is fucking bullshit. They're like, we stole it 10 minutes of this movie, and the remaining 2 hours were a smoke show to like throw you off the scent that we already have it. Okay. So goddamn it. So that's how this feels. I stole this 3 issues ago.
And yeah. And then, but he does pay his team members. It's just like 3 people left, and they get what, like $10 billion? Oh, okay. So what happens here? The ex-girlfriend, not really an ex-girlfriend,
Monica,
she sends over
the scientist supreme,
sends a robot who has a message on its chest saying, "I've brought you $1 billion in untraceable bills to promise a truce."
$1 billion in untraceable bills. How much does that weigh?
Like, why? But why? I don't understand any of this.
Because they want the energy hyper whatever.
They want the cosmic cube. You'll do anything for the cosmic cube, as we've established in like Captain America things, because you can rewrite reality with it.
But you're just gonna like send cash over instantly?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
And so he's like, okay, cool, I'll just send you a bomb instead. And she explodes. And
it turns out that the thing he gives her is unstable and it blows up. And M.O.D.O.K knew that was going to happen.
Yes, and he's happy because he killed his ex-girlfriend and got her to pay him $1 billion, which seems very random. I don't know how that paying $1 billion was part of his plan, that he knew that she would send some cash over.
I mean, the last, second to last page has, he's got his big diagram of his plan, and the last step is sell Hypernova, and then there's an arrow pointing to screw Monica.
Yeah. So
it was his plan.
That's how it ended. I really, this book for me just went downhill. It started up pretty high and it went downhill, and then this ending just killed it for me. I was like, I can't even with this. Sorry. That's I know you're a big fan of this writer, and I think in
I'm
general,
a fan of this colorist. He's so good.
But I had a hard time with this one. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, I disagree. I think it's good. I don't think it's great, but I think it's good comics.
Yeah, I think again, if I had just known not Modox 11, I would put it like slightly like better than mid-range. But I think now I got to put it like slightly below mid-range. Like that's just kind of where I was with it.
I think there's a lot going against this. I feel like the title throws you off. It's not really about M.O.D.O.K. I feel like none of the villains I know at all, and they don't get any like really interesting character moments. I feel like you need to throw in like Scorpion or somebody that's just a little bit more known into this team.
I guess.
I feel like the cast
but again, Superior Foes of Spider-Man is 2013, and it's like Boomerang, and who else is in that? Like,
I don't know, but I remember Superior Foes being really popular. So maybe I should read that. I don't like Nick Spencer, but I hear that one's really good.
I don't think you need a particular hero or villain, but it did need an anchor. This book didn't have like a single anchor to focus on, and I think as a result, it just made it all like very just like you were saying, man. So you don't know who to get behind. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I looked it up, and if you had $1 billion in $100 bills, it would weigh 22,000 pounds.
Well, he has mind powers.
Okay. All right. Well.
In what kind of bills you said?
$100 bills.
100 do they make bills bigger than 100?
I don't know. I've seen them, but like, I feel like those would be traceable at that point.
If you make bigger bills than
100. I don't know if there's enough. Yeah, $1,000.
What about like $1,000 million bills?
The question would be like, like are there a million, or I guess 10 million $100 bills even in circulation?
Oh wow, that's a great question. I don't know.
I don't know if they even have those like physically existing.
Yeah. So looking it up, Shocker is probably the biggest name in Superior Foes of Spider-Man.
Yeah,
but
Shocker.
He's not the main character.
Okay, so maybe we should read that one sometime. That would be read this, not that.
Put it on the list.
I hear it's
read
good.
this, not that.
Yeah,
it is good. I liked this fine. I think it's fun, because it, maybe it's just the I don't know. Person who likes villains that are self-defeating in me, but it's fun to see villains who are just immediately betray everyone the second they can.
That aspect of it, that was good. It does make sense that a bunch of villains would just be fighting each other, and this book really does have a lot of great ideas and a lot of fun moments in it. I don't want to undersell those because I did find a lot of genuine fun moments in this book.
Yeah, I wish Mentallo was brought back as a result of this book because I think he's such a fun C-list villain. He's perfect for a low level hero to fight because he's has no real ambitions. It seems like other than make money and be a bad guy.
Yeah, I mean, or I feel like he could just bounce off of another villain. You throw him in with Tombstone or Black Cat, and you can have some fun with him.
Yeah. Yeah, there's tons of Spider-Man villains that Spider-Man never uses.
Yeah, at the end of this book, it does seem like Puma and Nightshade and who was the other one who stayed good? Armadillo. They're going to stay friends, maybe. We'll see. I don't know. I don't know what becomes of them.
It's been 14 years. I don't feel like we're going to follow up on this.
Yeah, no. But I think we should be just about ready to jump to Amazing Spider-Man number 6. Any last words about M.O.D.O.K here?
That's all I got.
Yeah, all right, let's do it. Amazing Spider-Man number 6. We're doing great with these continuing adventures of Peter Parker, but right now we start with the Lizard, who we see him in Florida, and he's just this walking lizard with a white coat. And
he's Shrek. His first line is, "Get out of my swamp."
He is yelling at people to get out of his swamp, his Florida swamp. And Spider-Man's reading the paper. Everyone's talking about the Lizard, and the Bugle has a big headline. Bugle challenges Spider-Man to defeat the Lizard.
What the fuck? Is... they're not even in the same town.
At all.
At all. That's hey, Vince, why don't you go fight somebody in Canada?
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
I heard somebody in Portland's talking a lot of shit about you.
Lizard doesn't even talking shit about Spider-Man. He just wants people out of his swamp.
I will defend J. Jonah Jameson here for printing this headline because he's no, I know it's not going to happen. I'm just trying to drum up sales. People like that kind of stuff. I'm okay, you know what? I get that. And
Jameson's back to being gray if we're following Jameson's hair color.
Yeah.
Good. And then so J. Jonah Jameson is Spider-Man's not even going to go down there, which Peter is hey, J. Jonah Jameson, why don't you pay me for a trip to Florida? I'll take pictures when Spider-Man's down there.
He's fucking 15. Not even gonna happen. He's 15.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe kids were different in 1962 where you could send a child down to Florida.
I mean, we find that Peter has some fucking balls in this issue. The shit he pulls on J. Jonah Jameson as well. I'm what? He just doesn't even care.
This is less Pete being baby Ben Shapiro, and just he's got some swagger in this issue. He's interested in 2 girls. He's
getting his confidence.
Yeah.
He's turning into a real piece of shit with his confidence, though. I think he's using it for evil.
I love it. There's so many panels I took from this. I love this. I love this whole fucking issue.
So they go on his school goes on a field trip to the Natural History Museum, and his spidey senses are going off. And there's 2 guys who have stolen the idol's ruby. Don't worry, it's not going to be part of the story, really. But the gangsters briefly kidnap Liz, and Spider-Man swoops in to save her.
Well, and Spider-Man's I should follow them. There's not much to learn about dinosaurs here. And I'm because he wanted to learn about dinosaurs so he could learn more about the Lizard. The logic is very spurious at this point, but I love it.
Well, he's also smart, and he's maybe realizing all right, there's nothing new here for me.
Yeah. The tour guide is not going to teach a high school genius very much new information about lizards.
Yeah. But he goes. Go ahead.
He saves Liz, and
he saves Liz. Calls her hey, Blue Eyes, or something like that. And Liz is like, oh my goodness. And then she does not care about Flash anymore. She's like, no, Spider-Man's going to be my new boyfriend.
I love
Amazing.
it. I love
She
it.
loves it. Spidey, beats up the bad guys and everything. Everything's fine. There's a boy walking by, though, in the museum, listening on the radio. And the nation wonders why Spider-Man has avoided going after the lizard.
Not the Fantastic Four.
Really?
The nation's
That's what you're wondering?
The nation has no questioning about the Fantastic Four, but the nation.
No.
Like, the nation, there's a very simple answer. Y'all don't fucking know Spider-Man. Y'all don't know y'all don't know shit about him. What are you talking about? There's more for you to wonder about. All right.
He's also based in New York, 1,500 miles away.
Why has Kennedy not done anything about the lizard? Also a great question. It's not being asked.
Well, Spidey is like, all right, this is it. I've got to go after the lizard now. Everyone's demanding it. So Spidey goes to tease Jameson, and he says, hey, I'm going to prove you wrong. I am going to go to Florida. You better make sure you send a photographer to cover it.
But not only that, he webs him up in his office and hangs him from the ceiling via his webs for this visual.
So far, we always talk about like what are the consistent elements of Peter Parker that we're seeing early on. He's teasing J. Jonah Jameson every chance he gets. That is like the number one consistent character trait that I know about Spider-Man, that he loves to tease J. Jonah Jameson, period.
Yeah. Also, Vince, by the way, this book came out in November 1963, so Kennedy not long for this world, so he can't do much about the lizard.
Well, okay, fair
I wonder if they cover
Why
it.
has LBJ not done anything about it then?
Well, he's in Texas and the lizard's in Florida.
He's
so...
closer than New York. He's closer than Spider-Man.
Yeah. All right.
So it's 63, it's not 62. Okay. Because these were bi-monthly. Okay. All right.
So Peter, so J. Jonah Jameson now says, all right, Peter, you are going to go to Florida. I'm sending you, but we're going together. And at this point, I realize we're 6 pages in, and we have gotten so much story at this point. It's crazy.
These are very front-loaded issues, though, and then the back half is like fights. Is how like this and the Doctor Doom issue were.
So he also Peter has to convince Aunt May to let him go, and she's like, "Oh, it's dangerous. The lizard is down there." Oh, but that nice J. Jonah Jameson will be watching you. It'll be fun. Peter is doing his.
She's like, "What? Florida? No, there's that lizard thing. There's that lizard monster down there." Boy, no.
The J. Jonah Jameson can beat up that lizard monster. I'm sure it'll be fine.
I don't ever think of Dr. Connors living in Florida, though. I never think of him as a Florida boy.
Yeah, I feel like every retcon of Spider-Man has made Kirk Connors like a scientist that Peter Parker knows.
It's like a surrogate dad figure at his university.
Well, I mean, the way he finds him down in Florida is pretty random. He's just doing some research on the plane about lizards and stuff, and he sees a news story about Dr. Kirk Connors, reptile expert. He says, I'm going to go talk to that guy.
The exposition of this, he also just finds out about the lizard by reading a newspaper. Like the exposition, like it's not natural.
It's all news.
I feel like, I don't know if 62, 63, they didn't have TV break-ins like the way they did in like 80s Batman, where they'd be like, there's something on the TV. That's how we're going to get our plot. Okay.
See, I want to see superheroes like scrolling through their Twitter and they'd be like, lizard is trending. What's this all about?
What? I have so many notifications about the lizard.
People are sliding into my DMs telling me to go after the lizard. Get off my back.
I mean, the PS5 Spider-Man Miles Morales, he has like the friendly neighborhood app where people can tell him like shit that's going down.
That's good. That's good.
It's true.
So Spidey he gets off the plane and he instantly says to J. Jonah Jameson, I gotta go buy film. And J. Jonah Jameson is like, what? You're doing this on my time? Hurry up. And
I feel like the gag now he would also say like, I didn't want to pay for carry-on luggage, Jameson. And Jameson's like, yeah, that's a scam. Okay, cool.
So we never see Peter and J. Jonah Jameson together in Florida until the very end now, because Peter is just like done with him. He dresses up as Spider-Man, goes after the lizard. He just goes pick a fight with the lizard. He just finds him pretty quick. He's like, must be these swamps here.
I mean, I guess they say he's in the Everglades, but still, I feel like Florida is pretty gigantic.
But yeah,
he finds him.
Are
big, if my understanding correct.
Yes.
While he's fighting the lizard, and the lizard's too strong, he's like, oh, that must be Kurt Connors' house over there. I'm going to go over there instead. And he goes and he sees the crying wife. And he's talking to this crying wife of Kurt Connors. And he's like, oh, my God, lady, there's a lizard out there. You got to get out of here. She goes, no, my husband is the lizard.
I love this art choice, by the way. Peter holds a picture of Kurt Connors, like just a headshot, and it says, to my wife, love Curtis. Which I don't know why was that your art choice? Like, what extra information does that convey? It's like, that's how
loves his wife.
Loves his wife. Send her a headshot.
Oh, not even a picture of them together.
No,
no.
But yeah, so it's very clearly that this whole origin story is also one of Stan Lee's, like, this was meant for like a Tales of Suspense, like one of these random quick, like, it was a doctor and he wanted to regrow his arm, and so he got a thing from lizards, but then he turned into a lizard. And it's like, okay, that's good. Makes a perfect villain for Spider-Man, though, because it's science-based.
Yeah, I mean, most of Spider-Man's villains are scientists who fucked up on themselves. I guess we've already done this with Doc Ock, haven't we?
I think,
but this was more intentional.
Kurt Connors is, it's A, intentional. B, I think Kurt Connors is a goddamn idiot. We'll get to it later.
He waits literally like 5 seconds after he's like, I had a rabbit regrow its arm. Cool, let's fucking do this.
Let's do it on me. Which, again, I understand you're excited. You want to make it work. Things go terribly wrong. But Peter Parker says, show me your dad's notes. Show me everything. I'm going to make a reverse potion with science. And he makes like a potion, and it's going to work. And he makes himself some like web shoes. They let him walk on the water. It's great. And he goes paddling down.
That's almost a panel of the week, but we did skip. Kurt Connors was recognized that he was turning into a lizard. And he sent a letter telling his wife to run away before he turns fully into lizard. And it's a lizard writing a letter with a nice fountain pen, and there's a single tear coming out of his eye. And that's my panel of the week. That's
Take Billy, never come back.
Mm-hmm.
My understanding is that he eventually eats Billy, right? In the comics?
Oh, I don't know this.
I think he does end up murdering his son at some point. So.
I'd like to see.
I'm glad that wasn't here. I was worried that had already happened. So
that it was going to be first appearance.
First appearance.
His son.
Like his wife is crying because he ate our son. No, like everybody, you're going to get to know this kid before he gets eaten by his dad. Good. Don't worry.
So Spidey makes his way through the swamp, and he says he must be inside that old abandoned Spanish fort. And they go into the Spanish fort, and there's a bunch of alligators there, and they're like his army. And then we start a fight. It's Spider-Man versus alligators, and he's like running up this building trying to hide from them. And the lizard says, "Ha! He forgets that there are 3,000 different kinds of lizard on Earth, and I have the powers of all of them. Has he never seen a gecko lizard slither up a wall?" This is the only time he displays any abilities. What abilities do all the other 3,000 lizards have?
They're just more lizardy.
They're just more lizardy?
Cold-blooded, tongue sticks out.
I think that's the one other power that lizards have. I think we're done with lizard powers. Anyways, we get a nice long fight scene. I really like the art at the end where Spider-Man does actually throw the potion in the lizard's mouth. It's not super clean, but there's like a nice dynamic look to it. And it's like, oh, no, it doesn't work. But then it does work. And everything's okay. Lizard Man, back to being Dr. Kurt Connors, takes him home. And this is the part where I think Dr. Kurt Connors is an idiot. He burns his notes. He's like, I'm never going to do that again. He burns all of his notes, which seems like a bad idea to burn the notes on a thing that is still in your body that turns you into a monster. That is now combined with some stuff that a random teenager made that you have 0 notes on. Like, you need all the notes you can get, buddy. I think I wouldn't have done that.
No, he's fixed. He's fixed. as quickly as that rabbit, grew with no problems, the serum that Peter made, totally gonna work.
Yeah. Kurt Connors does not follow the scientific method. He is like, well, I see it. That's it. We're done.
Let's make sure this is in remission. Let's look at my
really
formula. Let's compare the notes against this kid's formula. See where I maybe went wrong. I mean, I understand the initiative of like no one can ever duplicate this. I mean, I get that kind of initiative.
I get it.
But dude is gonna spend the next 60 years turning into a lizard every now and then.
Did anyone ever say, "Dude looks like a lizard"? Is that been a thing?
There was no parallel between Liz and Lizard. Sorry. I was worried about that because he did call him Liz once. I was like,
that never came out.
Yeah.
All right. He goes back to Jameson, and Jameson has called the cops. He's worried sick about Peter, and Peter says, "Jameson, I've been looking for you." It's just browse him up, and he didn't actually get. This was hard for me to understand. Were those actual pictures of the lizard or not?
I think they were, but I think he thought they were like Bigfoot photos where they just looked fake.
And so Jameson tore them up instantly. Why weren't there pictures of Spider-Man in the picture? Has
Pete gotten to the point with his photography where he can have like the automatic shutter where he can have Spider-Man fighting in that image too?
I thought we saw that because like
he did like jumps, like he did like a cool flip, like where he like faked and he threw some sand up in the air.
Yeah, we saw pictures of him fighting sand. I know the sand didn't take that picture. Well, I think he should. I don't know, but I'm kind of okay with the ending because he just says, "Yeah, sorry, it didn't happen," and Jameson says, I think the lizard was a hoax anyways. Let's get out of here."
Yeah. Don't worry, Vince. Apparently, Billy has come back, and he's also been the Lizard Jr. a couple of times.
He's been the Lizard Jr. Him and his mom got cancer. His mom died of cancer, and then the Marvel Wiki, and it just goes. After that, Kirk came back and ate Billy, but then the Jackal brought Billy and his mother back from the dead. Apparently,
that's right.
I hate all of that. What the fuck?
Dan Slott.
What the hell was any? What?
Probably Dan Slott was like, we got to undo this, like, Kurt Connors eating his kid bullshit. I guess we're cloning people. That's how we're getting out of this problem. We're going to clone our way out of it.
I'm going to write a story where Lizard Jr. eats the lizard.
Wow.
Backwards. And get rid of a reversal. So it ends with Spidey still unable to get a date because Betty Brant's working and Liz is only interested in Spider-Man. Womp womp. Sorry, Peter.
I love it. It's so good.
But yeah, this was definitely the one of the more entertaining ones I think that we've read so far. It was a nice, very entertaining, very, very dynamic, lots of color, lots of good stuff.
Lots happened. It's got the right amount of stupid in it. Like I think like Liz being in love with Spider-Man and wants nothing to do with anybody else. And then like Peter making like those like swamp shoes, and the lizard crying. Like all of it's really fun. This is the right amount of dumb and fun for me.
His like snowshoes made of webs. That was great.
It's very good. Overall, this is good stuff. We will continue on next time to Amazing Spider-Man number 7, which has our first returning villain. It's the return of the Vulture.
Who was what, issue 2?
Already.
Yeah.
The Vulture, I believe, was issue 2. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
As we just talked about, Chameleon issue 1.
That's right.
I wonder when we'll see the Chameleon come back. I don't know.
He never. Fun fact: he never made another appearance until Modox 11.
What? That's crazy.
Listeners, that's not true. Don't listen to them.
No, he cloned Peter Parker's parents.
True.
That's true.
It is true, and I'm putting it on Wikipedia now. We are also reading. Oh, we have to mention. Okay, so very recently, the comics industry lost John Paul Leon. We decided we'd read something of his. Have we actually read anything?
I don't know if we've read anything of his. He's more of a cover artist. Although I mean, he's been around. His most recent work was Batman: Creature of the Night, which he did with Kurt Busiek. It's kind of a spiritual sequel to Superman's Secret Identity, which is a comic me and Kia loved. Chris, I don't know if you ever read that. But he recently passed away. He was only 49, but he created Static Shock with Dwayne McDuffie back in like 93 when he was a senior in college, and he was drawing it. So he's been around forever. He's drawn covers. He did, apparently, Challengers of the Unknown is supposed to be really good of his. He did Earth X, which we've been threatening to do for years, but is a little too dense for the format of our show. Maybe it will have to be our long read. But his covers are fantastic. He did a lot of like Hellblazer covers. I think he did the covers for like DMZ, if I recall correctly. And he did, of course, the Captain America Jack Monroe issue that we really liked from a few episodes ago. The Lonesome Death of Jack Monroe.
Oh, yes.
Which I remember y'all saying like y'all really like the art style for that one particular. So it's a real darn shame. Died at 49. It's crazy.
Oof. It's rough. So we're gonna read some of his Static Shock. We're not gonna read the very initial run. We're gonna read something a little bit later. Rebirth of the Cool from 2000. It's 4 issues, and then of course Amazing Spider-Man #7, and yeah, written. Did we say written by Dwayne McDuffie? I think
the late great Dwayne McDuffie
together.
also. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all on DC Universe. I don't know if the Static Shock show is on HBO Max. That cartoon,
I believe it is.
That was supposed to be really good. I think my college roommate really liked it, but I never really got a chance to watch it.
I never watched all of it, but I watched the first season and it was fine.
Yeah, Static Shock does appear, I believe, in Justice League Unlimited. I think that's the only thing I've seen.
Yes, a very good episode of Justice League Unlimited has Static Shock in it.
Am I maybe also thinking of Young Justice? Is there another version of him in that show?
Ooh. I heard that show.
I've never watched Young Justice, so I don't know.
I really need to.
One of the best Justice League Unlimited episodes has Static Shock because it's in the future.
That's definitely what I'm thinking of then. Yeah, but yeah, we're gonna read some Static Shock. I'm excited for it. So join us next time. What else is there to talk about? So I mentioned I've been streaming in the mornings. Have I been doing that? Yeah, Kiarash, KIARRRASH, 3 R's in the middle. I play whatever, and my schedule's inconsistent. So you can come watch me do that. Chris, how's your Stupid Minds doing?
It's going well. We had an episode that came out a couple of weeks ago about Mortal Kombat. So check it out if you need more Mortal Kombat content in your life.
And Vince, you said you saw Mortal Kombat?
I saw the new one. I listened to Chris's episode, Mortal Kombat Armageddon. Is that what the subtitle was?
Annihilation.
Thank you.
Yeah, same thing.
Armageddon was the game that I based my video, Motor Combat, on, which is the Mortal Kombat kart racing game, MOTOR Combat. I also texted your co-host today. He texted me to talk about Fast and Furious. He was like, no one will talk about this movie. And he spent about like 30 minutes with me talking about Fast and Furious 9. So Nick is a good guy. I suggest you listen to his show. And I recently came out with a video on Yoshi's Safari, the game with the Super Scope game where you ride Yoshi's back with a rocket launcher and shoot bad guys. It's on All My Friends Are Right Here's YouTube channel. Where you can find every single episode of this show as well. And I'm working on, speaking of Shrek is celebrating its 20th anniversary this month. And I'm covering a Shrek game, hopefully in the next week or two, to celebrate the 20th anniversary of Shrek and getting off of my swamp. So look out for that.
This is everything is connected in this episode. It seems like a real web.
Like it's planned.
Wow, amazing. There's probably some sort of like a web joke with Spider-Man, but also a plan joke and a heist. I don't know what the joke is. I'm just gonna say the goodbyes. Vince, I love you.
Love you too.
Chris, I love you.
I was a super adapter all along.
God damn it. And he's got the powers of all the podcast hosts.
He's got all the powers, but not the power to love.
I wonder if he has the power of a gecko lizard to climb up things. I don't know.
He called him a gecko lizard. I loved how the lizard called him. He was like, he doesn't know about powers of gecko lizards or geckos.
Geckos. Yeah. Well, all right. That's it for the night. Good night, everybody. Thanks for listening. We love you. Goodbye.